There is a few people that you'll probably meet in your course of your life that the older they get, the better life becomes for them. Now, that's not the majority, right? The majority of people, the older they get, the less life they have. Their energy gets depleted. They become more cynical. They become more rigid. That is the experience of aging for a lot of people. It doesn't have to be that way with you. My name is Jamal Javanji. I'm a life coach with a company I founded called Free to Love Coaching Solutions LLC. One of the reasons you're watching this video today is because I'm convinced that you wouldn't be watching this video if you did not want something more for your life, a better quality of life. Most people who watch videos like this, it's because you want to elevate your experience of life. And I'm just here to tell you that that's absolutely possible, but it does not happen unintentionally. It takes a lot of intention and focus to elevate your life the older you get. And so in today's video, we're going to talk about one of the major reasons why some people diminish the older they get. Their life actually diminishes. And we're going to talk about why some people actually, their life elevates the older they become. So another word for life, right? There's synonyms for life, right? We can use many different words to describe life. But what is your life? What is my life? What is our life? Now I'm convinced that life really can be boiled down to one word: energy. Your life is your energy. Everything is energy. Now we know this from science, that literally everything is made up of energy. And this is included our life. Now, my understanding of energy is that it's also conscious. And so one of the things that we are able to do, because we have a body and a mind, we're able to direct this conscious energy in a certain direction. Now, without getting too technical about it, or you know, getting into a lot of different details about it, the quality of your life is the quality of your energy. Have you ever noticed when you get sick, right? What happens to your energy? Your energy is depleted, and then your ability to actually enjoy whatever's happening. If you don't feel good, if your energy is low, your ability to experience life and to enjoy life is greatly diminished, right? Because maybe you just want to sleep, right? Nothing wrong with resting and sleeping. It's a huge part of life. But when your energy is low, your ability to think, your ability to learn, your ability to feel, to experience life at a high level is greatly diminished. So this is why your energy is so important. So the higher or the more elevated your energy is, the more life will become vibrant for you. The more you're going to actually be able to not only become aware of your desires, but you're going to be able to create and manifest and live out the desires that you have with your life. This is all dependent on energy. Energy is the fuel. It is the fuel of life. So the higher your energy, the better. The lower your energy, the more sickness and disease. And I'm not just talking about physical disease. I'm talking about just a diminished life. The lower your energy, the more diminished your life is going to be. So it's in your best interest this year, this new year, that you learn how to master your life force energy. And we all have life force energy. Okay. So I have a program in my one-to-one coaching program that I emphasize. It's called the Energy Acquisition System. One of the things that we work on is elevating, right, your life force energy, because if the energy is low, not much you can do with your life. But if the energy is high, there's a whole lot you can do with your life. Now, the older you get, if there are certain patterns that have been in place throughout your life that are unconscious, that are actually working against your life force energy, the older you get, the more sensitive you'll become to that. So for some people, right, when you get older, right, you have less bandwidth to deal with certain fluctuations, right? When you're younger, you can push through things, you can make things work. But with the older you get, the less ability you have for that. So that's why it's so important that your energy is actually flowing in the right direction. It's flowing upwards, not downwards, right? because if it's flowing down and it's suppressed, your bandwidth is going to become very, very small, and your ability to navigate life's challenges and situations will will be greatly diminished. So, one of the major things that I've seen as a life coach working with people, one of the major things that I've seen that keeps our energy low and suppressed is number one, a dysregulated nervous system. It is a major reason why our energy is low. Okay. So I want you to think about the human energy system as like a ladder, right? So your spine is kind of like a ladder, right? And there's little ridges that, and this is just a metaphor, but it's think about your spine as like a ladder. And these little ridges, you climb up the ladder, right? So your life, we all have inside of our body, our physical body, or within our system, we have energy. And this energy resides lower in the human body, and it wants to rise up the system, kind of like climbing a ladder. And the more your energy is able to rise, the more health you're going to experience, the lighter life is going to become, the more you're going to be able to feel and experience the richness and vitality and joys that life has to offer. But that's going to be dependent upon your life force energy rising up the ladder, if that makes sense. So your nervous system is actually key to either suppressing your life force energy or helping your life force energy to elevate. It's really dependent upon your nervous system. So, unfortunately, for most of us, a lot of folks are operating in what I call the sympathetic nervous system. So, the sympathetic nervous system is the nervous system it's actually a stress, it's a nervous system that is triggered by a stress response. When you are operating in a sympathetic nervous system, when your sympathetic nervous system is activated, you're in what has been called fight or flight. When you're in fight or flight, what's happening is your body's secreting all these stress hormones, and your body's actually resisting your life force energy. It takes a lot of energy to be in a state of fight or flight. When your sympathetic nervous system is activated, your life force energy, in some parts of the world that's called prana. In India, they would call it prana. In China, they call it chi. But your life force energy is being suppressed when your sympathetic nervous system is activated. And so the sympathetic nervous system is activated by stress, primarily stress. And what is stress? Well, that's a whole other conversation. But stress is nothing external, it's all internal, right? So a dysregulated nervous system that perceives life as being threatening will actually suppress your life force energy and keep it low. So one of the things that we work on in my one-to-one coaching program, the energy acquisition system, is we learn how to turn off the sympathetic nervous system. Because when you turn off the sympathetic nervous system, another nervous system, and this is great news, right? All human beings, we actually have two kinds of nervous systems that are in our system that are located in the body. We have the sympathetic nervous system, which is the phrase for that is fight or flight. But we also have something called the parasympathetic nervous system. And the parasympathetic nervous system is the nervous system that's actually centered around your heart space, your heart energy center. And that nervous system, the phrase for that is called rest and digest. And when the parasympathetic nervous system is turned on, it's turned on during states of deep regulation of the nervous system, deep states of relaxation. This is where your life force energy starts to rise in the system. This is when creativity and inspiration and hope, all of these states of being begin to flourish in our system when the parasympathetic nervous system is turned on. But in order for the parasympathetic nervous system to be turned on, your sympathetic nervous system needs to be turned off. This is why we work on regulating the nervous system, because a regulated nervous system ensures that the parasympathetic nervous system is on and flowing. And from that place, there's a lot you can do with your life. This video is sponsored by Free to Love Coaching Solutions, of course, and the Energy Acquisition System, which is the name of my 90-day one-to-one signature life coaching program. And here's a little bit more information about this.
I just wasn't sleeping anymore. I felt like I was stuck. I could not stay motivated, and it was hard to focus. I tried self-help books, therapy. I even took a vacation, and nothing helped. And then I found a personal coaching system that gave me back my life. Hi, Jamal.
What she discovered is the Energy Acquisition System developed by Jamal Javanji, a globally recognized coach featured on Fox Network, Newsmax TV, and an Amazon best-selling author with over 100 podcast episodes guiding listeners and transforming men and women worldwide.
My 90-day coaching system is for anyone looking for a renewed sense of vitality and well-being.
I haven't felt this alive in years. Jamal changed that.
Don't just wait for a change. Do something about it. Book your session with Jamal today.
Your breakthrough begins the moment you say, yes, I'm ready for change. Hit the button below and let's get started.
I want to give you a few signs. How do you know if your nervous system is regulated or dysregulated? It's a great question. Shallow breathing. How is your breath? People with a regulated nervous system are deep, slow, conscious breathers. I had a friend tell me one time, he said the deepest breather in the room is the strongest person in the room, is the most powerful person in the room, because their nervous system is regulated. People who have a regulated nervous system, who are consciously breathing deeper on a regular basis, these are the folks that really come up with solutions to all kinds of problems in life. They are very, very much responsive as opposed to reactive. There's a massive difference between responding and reacting to life. If your nervous system is regulated, you know how to respond, and you don't get tripped up by reactions. So that's a major sign that your nervous system is regulated. Your breath, your breathing is slow and deep. Have you ever noticed when you're stressed, when you're scared, whatever it may be for you, pay attention to your breath. You'll notice that it's shallow. The more stressed you are, the more shallow your breath is. But the more relaxed you are, the more regulated your nervous system is, the deeper you breathe. Second sign that your nervous system is dysregulated, and this is a strange one, but hear me out on this. You have tight hips. It feels you're inflexible at the body level. It's really hard for you to maybe squat down, physically speaking. It's really hard for you because your hips are so tight. The reason for this is because, as I mentioned, your body, your spine, is an energy scaffold, and the energy runs up and down the spine. And when your energy is suppressed, you have tightness in your lower back and in your hips. That's a sign of a dysregulated nervous system. I was speaking with a chiropractor, a well-known chiropractor in his field, and I asked him one time in a conversation, I said, what is the biggest, whatever, in your line of work, what is some of the biggest reasons for back problems for the people you work with? And he said, you want to know the number one reason? And I'm expecting him to say bad posture or maybe injuries. He said the number one cause of back problems is stress. Isn't that interesting? Stress. Because again, stress is not physical. Stress is energetic. It's internal and it's energetic. You don't see stress, but it's inside. So stress actually, because it suppresses energy, life force energy, in the spinal region, it shows up in your hips and in your lower back. Do you have tight hips? It's a good chance you have a dysregulated nervous system. Another sign, as I mentioned, that you have a dysregulated nervous system, you have lower back pain. Do you have a bad lower back, right? You may go to the doctor. They may say you have bulging discs and you have degenerative back disease. That's on the surface, but rarely do they tell you why. When there's a lot of pressure, energetic pressure that's suppressed and compounded, it affects that region of the body. And again, we don't see energy, right? But it's very real. If you have a dysregulated energy system, it's usually shows up in your lower back. Interesting, isn't it? Another sign that you have a dysregulated nervous system is you have financial worry. You are constantly thinking about money, the lack of money. You may be worried about the future. You're constantly in a state of instability when it comes to your financial life. You have money problems. Now, that may seem strange, but remember, a dysregulated nervous system is a sign that you have a dysregulated root energy center, right? And at the base of your spine is the root. There's an energy center there, and it's a root energy center. And when that is disrupted, your nervous system is dysregulated, and it shows up through worry and fear, and typically comes out in the area of finances. It's another sign that your nervous system in your root energy center is disrupted. Another sign that you have a dysregulated nervous system is that you may be prone to addiction and addictive behaviors. Unprocessed and unresolved trauma in your life, it can show up as a dysregulated nervous system that makes you more prone to addictive or compulsive behaviors. This addictions come in many ways and shapes and forms, right? Addiction is the behavior, and again, we could do a whole other video on addiction itself, but addiction and addictive behaviors are just the nervous system, a dysregulated nervous system's attempt to satiate and regulate pain and trauma, unprocessed trauma. It's a way that the nervous system is trying to find comfort and safety. So this is why if your nervous system is dysregulated, you will be more prone to addiction and addictive behaviors. Things like smoking, vaping, smoking marijuana, right? A lot of folks with trauma and unprocessed trauma, I've observed just in my own life, they tend to be prone to compulsive smoking of marijuana, drinking, things to take the edge off. This is all a result of unprocessed trauma and a dysregulated nervous system. And the more you engage in those behaviors, even though it does seem to help regulate and satiate anxiety and deep dysregulation of the nervous system level, even though it temporarily helps, over the long haul, it actually creates more of the same problem it's trying to address. It actually creates more dysregulation at the nervous system level. And I just tell people all the time, observe people who use those vices, people who vape, who smoke marijuana, popping pills, whatever it may be, or just turning to food, there's sex, right? That's a massive addiction. Workaholism. Observe the people who keep turning to these substances and activities and behaviors. Do they get better or do they stay the same? In my observation as a coach, working with people for many years, I have never seen any of those vices actually lead to a stable, regulated nervous system for the long haul. I've never seen it work. So that's a whole other conversation. But addiction and addictive behaviors and compulsive behaviors is a classic sign that your nervous system is dysregulated. So what is needed? So why am I saying all this? What is needed is a stable root energy center. So again, think of your body as a ladder. At the base of the ladder, it is very important. If you wanted to climb, let's say you needed to get up on the roof of your home, right? And you put a step ladder next to your house. It's very important that the base of that ladder be very secure on solid ground. Right? Because what if the ground's not solid? What if it's not level? What will happen when you try to climb up the ladder? It's going to tip over and fall. Same thing happens in our energy system with our life. When our life force energy does not have a stable or strong root foundation, it is very challenging for that energy to rise up the system so that we can experience a high quality of life, that we can experience ease and health and wholeness and fullness of life, because our root energy center is disrupted. So it's really important that we stabilize the root energy center. So in my signature life coaching program, the one-to-one program that I have called the Energy Acquisition System, that's one of the major things we go to work on almost immediately, is stabilizing the root energy center of our system, so that we can begin to stabilize our energy system, so that that we can acquire and that energy can start flowing in the right direction. I hope this makes sense. If you'd like some more information about the energy acquisition system, there's a link below this video. You can go to this link, you can schedule a free consultation call with me, and we'll talk more about it and see if it's a good fit for you and for your life. But I invite you to give this some thought, check out the link below, and we'll go from there.